In the last video I have configured the ESXi server. Now in this video I will show you how to create a VM from scratch. So if you watch my previous slide, you know how to how I create a virtual lab. So for recap, first of all I installed my VMware workstation on my computer, on which I installed ESXi version 7 and after that I will create a VM. VM stands for virtual machine. So the recommended step for creating VMs are as follows. As you can see here, first of all, after creating a ESXi server, I will create a DataStore. Basically, DataStore is a space like your hard drive in which you install all your virtual machines. After that, we upload our ISO images for installing our operating system. ISO images are used to install operating system like Linux, Windows, and other operating systems. And by using this ISO images, we install our virtual machine. Install VM using this ISO file in DataStore, and after installing a operating system, we should also install a VMware tool. VMware tools are very essential for smooth functioning, because if you don't install these tools, your virtual machine will be like hanging or lagging with your mouse. So always install your VMware virtual tool after installing VMs. And whenever you perform any critical changes in your virtual machine, before performing these changes you should take an snapshot. Basically, snapshot is like an image. For example, if you install some software which corrupt your machine, so you cannot go back to your previous stage. But if you had your snaps of your machine, you can go back to your virtual machine as a working condition. So in this video I will perform all these steps. So let's move to our labs. So in our as you can see in our VMware workstation, I have installed a machine which is called ESXi 7-1. -1 is used for because in later chapter I will install a second virtual machine in which I will install vCenter server. As you can see, we can access this server from this IP 192.168.11.134. So I launch my browser, which is Firefox, and click the IP of my ESXi server. The default username is root, and you should enter your default username, root, and password, and click login. As soon as you click login, you have the interface of your ESXi server. On the left side, click on the storage. As you can see, there is no data store. I like to mention one thing here. Whenever you install any new ESXi version 7.0, you don't see any data store unless your data store size larger than 200 GB. So in this step, so you don't hurry up, you don't confuse where is the data store, because in previous version we have whenever we install our hypervisor, we should have a data store. So for creating a new data store, you should have so as you can see, we don't have enough space to creating a data store. Now we add a virtual hard drive in our virtual machine ESXi server for creating a data store. Now right click on your virtual machine and click on setting, and in hardware tab click on hard disk and add another hard drive. Select hard drive, click next, create a new virtual disk, click next, and give it a size. I am creating a hard drive with a size of 100 GB. click next and click finish. Click OK. Now I have created a hard drive on my virtual machine, but it will not map on my ESXi server until unless I will restart my ESXi server. For restarting, click F12 and give the password. And click F11 again to restart my ESX server. We should restart our host, because if we don't restart our host, we don't get our hard drive attached with our ESX server. So it is mandatory to restart your ESXi server until all the changes which you made is not reflected on your machine. As soon as this machine will come back again, I will show you the exact steps how to create a data store and perform our further tasks. So as you can see, a yellow screen is popping up. Now we refresh our screen. Unable to connect the browser. So I am going, some services are updated but some are not, but not all the services are updated. So as you can see, okay, now it is up and running. Now again click our virtual machine, give the credential and storage. Now we create a new data store. Click on new data store, create a new VMS. VMS basically virtual machine, VMware file system data store. Click next. As you can see, now we have another hard drive attached with our host, which is about 100 GB. Now select this disk and click next. Oh, I forgot to give it a name, so I call it data store 1. Click next, and before selection I have this, and after, and click finish. The entire content of the about to this. Okay, click next. Yes. Now you can see I have a one data store. So now I'm able to create a virtual machine, because virtual machine needs some storage. This is local storage, but in our coming lecture I will create a shared storage, which is used for vCenter or advanced functioning like clustering, HA and DRS. So I click data store. This is the data store, VMware file system 6. Okay. Now I click data, browse data store, and I create a new directory which is called ISO images. Basically I create this directory because I put my all the operating system ISO images here. So I click this, and now I click on upload. Now I will browse my computer for my installation file. As you can see, I have Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 2016. So I select Windows 2016 server and click open, and as you can see, it is uploading my ISO file in my data store. Once the ISO file uploaded, I will install my operating system by using this ISO image. Now you can see I have uploaded my ISO image on my DataStore. So I move to virtual machines, and at the top we have an option called create virtual machine. Click on this option and create a new virtual machine. Select the first option from the list and click next. You should give a name of your virtual machine. So I call it Win 2016 server. Compatibility mode will be ESXi 7, which is the latest one. Guest OS family is Windows, so select Windows. Guest operating version is Windows 2016. Click next and select the storage DataStore. Click this DataStore, which is DataStore 1, and here you should customize your hardware setting like CPU, 2 CPU and RAM. For example, we give this machine now 2 GB RAM, and hard drive we give it 20 GB hard drive, and click on CD DVD drive 1 and drop down this link and DataStore ISO file. Now browse the DataStore ISO file. I create the ISO file. I mount this ISO file to this VM. So this VM boot from this ISO file, and we install our Windows from this VM. Select, and please remember tick this checkbox, connect to the power on. Then click next and then click finish. As you can see, now our virtual machine has ready. Now we install our operating system from here. You just click here and click on play sign button. Fail to power on virtual machine the available memory resources, so we can edit the virtual machine. And sorry, this time I change into GB and 2 GB and click save. Click Windows Setup, and as you hit enter, our virtual machine booting up with this our ISO file. Now installation of Windows Server is very easy. Keyboard, type US, click next and click install now. Now we select the second option, which is Windows 2000 Server Standard Desktop Experience. If you choose the first one, it will only give you the command prompt type interface. So always select the second one, which is Standard Desktop Experience. Click next. Accept the license agreement and click next. And click custom installation. Now there is no hard partition of this hard drive, which is 20 GB. So I select this one and click next, and we will install our operating system on our 20 GB partition. As you can see, the installation is finishing up and asking me the password, so I give it a password. And click finish. So you can see here I install my operating system. After installing fresh operating system, you should install VMware tool in this fresh machine. So how do we install VMware tool? There are two ways. The first way is to right click your virtual machine and select guest OS and select install VMware tool. Go back to our virtual machine, hit it down, and as soon as I mount the OS tool, it will appear on my virtual machine. Click on this and run setup 64.exe. It will install VMware tool in my virtual machine. As I told you that this is very important to install your VMware tool, because it will synchronize your virtual machine with your host machine. Click next, select the typical one, click next and click install. Because after installing this tool, your mouse will have great motion, no lagging, so you should install your virtual machine. Also your VGA display will also improve, because all the required driver with this virtual machine have been installed by this tool. So as you can see, it will change my appearance better. Click finish, and after you install your VMware tool, it will ask you for rebooting your machine. You always select yes. So now we have done so many things, like we create a data store, we upload our ISO file to our data store, we create a virtual machine using this ISO file, and now we also installed VMware tool on this virtual machine. If you by mistake close down this window, you can open in right away, like open console, and select the second option, open console in new window. So the same window will appear and you can easily work from here. Now click on this and guest OS, send keys and control alt delete. It will ask you a password. Now in this way we have installed our virtual machine on our first virtual machine, our ESXi server. You can easily see how many machines are there in your ESXi server by clicking virtual machines and double click virtual machine. So as you can see, I have only one virtual machine over here, which is which use the space about 22.08 GB. So now after installing your virtual machine, you can edit your virtual machine easily by selecting your virtual machine and select this pencil icon, which is called edit. Here you can edit so many things like your CPU, your memory, your hard drive, but as you can see you don't change this value right now because it is power on. After power off you can change these options. So if you want to change your memory increase or decrease, or you add an hard drive, the first step you should do after installation is to come here and uncheck this box, which is mount the ISO file on my virtual drive, and click save. Now as you can see the changes are reflected on my virtual machine from this complete successfully. Mount install tool. This is the recent task list which show all the tasks I have performed on this disk. So after creating your virtual machine and added your desired setting, now if you want to make some changes on your virtual machine, for example I create a folder here called test folder 1. So before make any changing to this virtual machine, you should take the snapshot of your virtual machine. What is a snapshot? A snapshot preserves the state and data of the virtual machine at a specific point in time. The state includes the virtual machine power state, for example power on, power off, or suspended. The data include all the file make up the virtual machine in include disk, memory, and other devices. So for example I created this folder, and if I want to change or something, for example I installed so many software. So before installing the software I like to preserve the state of my virtual machine. How can we perform? How can we save this virtual machine state? It is called in virtualization snapshots. So we can take the snapshot of this machine by going to this menu and right click our VM, and here you can see the third option is snapshot. So we click on the take a snapshot and we give it a name like fresh installation, and description with one folder on desktop, and we perform the snapshot. So you can see a fresh snapshot successfully created on the virtual machine. Now I am taking the snapshot. Now after taking the snapshot we can easily change the state of virtual machine. For example, if we want, let's suppose we accidentally delete our some data, and we also delete from the recycle bin. So but as I told you, I save the state, I can easily get back my folder. How I can revert back to my virtual machine to its original state? By simply right click on your virtual machine and click on the snapshot and restore snapshot. Click on that, and it will ask you if you want to revert back to your previous state. I click on restore. As soon as I restore our virtual machine, snapshot, you are here, France installation. I revert to snapshots. The current state of virtual machine is lost. Whenever I restored my previous state, my current state of my virtual machine is lost, and my virtual machine will be going to the restart. So I click restore and I click close. Now again I take the console, and you can see now I have get back my original folder, test folder 1. So whenever you perform any changes or make any changes to your system store, occasionally you should take a snapshot, which is life saving for you. So in this short video I will tell you all the important thing related to the creation of virtual machine. But always remember this step. If you perform as I performed, you should save your so much time. So again, thank you very much for your time.